There comes a moment in every life when silence becomes a prison. You feel the weight in your chest, not because the world has chained you, but because you have chained yourself. Afraid to raise your voice, afraid to stand against the tide, afraid to step into the fire of conflict. Many believe peace comes from avoiding confrontation, but that is the greatest lie ever whispered into the ears of the timid. True peace, true freedom, is never born from retreat. It is forged when you walk into the storm and refuse to bow. Every empire that ever rose, every soul that ever broke free, did so by embracing conflict, not fleeing from it. The truth is simple. If you want to be free, you must stop fearing the battles that life demands of you. Avoiding conflict does not preserve your dignity, it steals it. Hiding from confrontation does not protect your soul, it suffocates it. The ones who live with courage are not those who never encounter opposition, but those who face it and sharpen their strength upon it. When we encounter opposition, we become weak. We fall apart. When we encounter opposition, we become weak. We fall apart. When we encounter opposition, we become weak. To fear conflict is to fear growth. To embrace it is to claim the throne of your own destiny. People cling to harmony as though it is a treasure to be guarded at all costs, yet most do not realize that much of what they call harmony is nothing but a fragile disguise, a silence built upon suppressed truths and concealed resentments. They smile, they nod, they agree, not because agreement is genuine, but because they fear the rupture that comes with honest expression. And so they trade authenticity for comfort, exchanging their right to speak for the false reward of keeping the peace. This illusion of harmony becomes a slow poison, draining the vitality of the spirit, suffocating passion, and making men weaker with every unspoken thought. What is presented outwardly as order is often nothing more than fear dressed in polite gestures, and fear never produces freedom. It only deepens chains. Those who pretend all is well when storms rage inside their hearts deceive not only others, but themselves most of all. They forget that a life without confrontation is not harmony. It is submission disguised as calm, and every moment they choose silence over honesty, they lose another piece of their soul. This false peace is seductive because it feels safe. To avoid conflict seems like the wiser path, the path that spares pain, division, and anger, but in truth, it is a path that spares nothing except courage. When you hide behind this illusion, you become a slave to the expectations of others. You smile when you want to shout, you bow when you want to stand, you nod when every instinct in your soul tells you to refuse, and you tell yourself it is kindness, you tell yourself it is maturity, but in reality it is cowardice. There is no strength in avoiding the eruption of conflict because every avoided battle does not vanish, it festers, it grows, and it waits. The harmony you protect today becomes the chaos you cannot control tomorrow. The truth that is buried does not dissolve, it hardens, it sharpens, and it will cut through the walls you build around it. To live in fear of conflict is to give your power away piece by piece, until there is nothing left of you but an obedient shadow. Consider what harmony truly is. It is not silence. It is not the absence of raised voices. It is not everyone pretending to agree while bitterness smolders beneath their skin. Real harmony is built upon strength, not fragility, upon honesty, not deception. If there is no confrontation, then there is no truth, and if there is no truth, then there can never be peace. People fear conflict because they believe it divides, yet it is often the only thing that purifies. It strips away illusions, it exposes hypocrisy. It forces what is weak to crumble so that what is strong may endure. But when you cling to the illusion of harmony, you deny yourself this purification. You lock yourself in a stagnant pool of lies, and there you will decay. The man who chooses to speak the truth and endure the storm may suffer for a time, but he emerges cleansed, unburdened, and unchained. The man who chooses silence may avoid the storm, but he remains forever enslaved to the calm that is built on weakness. The illusion of harmony thrives because people crave comfort more than they crave freedom. They would rather sit quietly in rooms filled with dishonesty than bear the discomfort of a single honest confrontation. They fear the raised voice of another more than they fear the quiet death of their own integrity. They call their silence wisdom, but it is merely the refusal to bear the weight of being real. And so, they shape a world where the loudest are obeyed, where the strongest dominate, and where those who shrink from conflict live at the mercy of those unafraid to wield it. There is no dignity in such a life, no sovereignty in such a choice. What seems like harmony is merely the absence of your will. What seems like peace is simply your surrender. The more you protect this illusion, the more you invite the chains of others to bind you. Because a man unwilling to fight for his truth will always be ruled by the truth of another. This is why the illusion of harmony must be shattered if one is to live free. To shatter it means to embrace the discomfort of honesty, to speak when silence would feel easier, to confront when retreat would feel safer. It means to accept that conflict is not an enemy, but a teacher. Every great figure who carved their name into the memory of history did so not by protecting false harmony, but by tearing through it. They understood that to avoid conflict is to avoid growth, and to embrace it is to embrace transformation. A man who stops fearing conflict begins to see clearly. He sees that harmony without confrontation is not harmony at all, but the calm of a graveyard. Life, real life, is not meant to be still and quiet. It is meant to be tested, broken, rebuilt, and strengthened. So long as you chase the illusion of harmony, you will never be free. Because freedom does not hide in shadows of fear. It stands in the light of truth, even when that truth ignites war. Strength does not rise from ease, nor is it shaped in the comfort of quiet days where nothing is demanded of you. Strength is born in the storm, when the winds of adversity tear at your resolve and the thunder of conflict shakes the ground beneath you. A man may believe he is strong when life is calm, but calm waters reveal nothing. It is only when the storm comes that the truth of his spirit is exposed. The storm is merciless. It spares no weakness, and it does not allow lies to survive. It strips you bare, leaving only what is unbreakable. Those who hide from conflict, who run from the storm, deny themselves the very fire that forges greatness. They live sheltered, yes, but they live fragile, and fragility is not freedom. It is dependence disguised as safety. The one who dares to walk into the storm, who does not shrink from the clash of wills or the weight of struggle, emerges forged into something unshakable. His power is not imagined, it is tested, hardened, and real. The storm is feared because it brings pain, and most souls would rather cling to weakness than endure suffering. But suffering is not your enemy, it is your passage. Every wound inflicted by conflict is not a mark of defeat, but a symbol of growth. It is the place where the old self breaks, and the stronger self begins. Without such breaking, there is no transformation. Without resistance, there is no power. The tree that never bends to strong winds may look beautiful, but when the storm comes, it falls easily. The tree that endures countless storms grows roots deep and unshakable. In the same way, those who endure conflict develop strength, not visible to the eye, but carved deep into the spirit. The fire of confrontation burns away illusions, and the pressure of opposition builds resilience that cannot be stolen. To resist the storm is to be broken by it. To embrace the storm is to be strengthened by it. And those who embrace it carry a power that fear cannot touch. Conflict, though bitter, is the great revealer. It shows you what you are truly made of. You may imagine courage when life is calm, but the storm will reveal whether that courage is real or hollow. It will test the limits of your endurance, the depth of your will, and the clarity of your convictions. Without such testing, no one can claim strength. Words and intentions are cheap until they are thrown against the violence of reality. In the clash of storms, you either rise or crumble. Yet even in crumbling, you learn, you rebuild, and you return stronger. Every fall is not a defeat but a lesson, and every rise makes the spirit more unyielding. The storm may wound, but its wounds are teachers, each one a reminder that growth is not found in avoidance, but in confrontation. The man who fears this trial will forever remain small, living as a whisper in the world, while the one who embraces it writes his presence with thunder. Strength born in the storm is not just physical endurance or the hardness of will. It is clarity of spirit. When you have faced conflict and walked through its fire, you no longer cling to illusions. You see with new eyes. You no longer mistake silence for peace, comfort for happiness, or submission for safety. You know that true peace comes only after struggle, and freedom comes only after victory. This clarity is priceless because it cannot be taken from you once earned. It is carved into your soul by the storm itself. Those who live sheltered may mock it, may believe themselves wise in avoiding conflict, but their wisdom collapses at the first strike of thunder. Yours does not. You have endured, you have bled, and because of this you carry within you a strength that is not imagined, but absolute. And absolute strength is the only shield that life respects, the only currency freedom demands. The storm is not your enemy, it is your ally in disguise. To walk willingly into it is to accept the cost of becoming unbreakable. Every strike of lightning is a lesson, every crash of thunder is a test, and every wave that threatens to drown you is a call to rise higher. If you fear conflict, you will never know yourself, and you will never know freedom. But if you stop fearing it, if you embrace it as the crucible in which strength is born, then nothing can master you. The storm that once terrified you becomes the very place where you are reborn. Conflict no longer weakens you, it crowns you. And those who once thought you fragile will learn that no force can shatter a spirit forged in the storm. This is why strength is never given, it is earned, tested, and born in the heart of conflict. To resist this truth is to remain a slave. To accept it is to step into power that no man, no storm, and no world can take away. Freedom is not a gift handed down by the merciful. It is not a gentle reward for those who wait patiently and behave obediently. Freedom is seized, and it is seized through confrontation. To live free means you must face resistance, for every step toward liberty threatens those who profit from your submission. If you believe you can be free without conflict, you have already surrendered, because freedom is not born in silence, it is born in struggle. Confrontation is the price you pay to reclaim yourself, and it is a price that cannot be avoided. Every tyrant, whether a ruler over nations or a voice inside your own head, survives on your fear of conflict. They count on your silence. They count on your desire to avoid discomfort. They count on your weakness to retreat. The moment you confront them, whether through defiance or through truth, you shatter the very illusion of their power. Without confrontation, chains remain unbroken. With it, the path to freedom begins to open, carved by courage and sharpened by will. Freedom demands confrontation because it demands ownership. To live free means to claim the right to stand as you are, unbent and unbowed, in a world that constantly seeks to bend and break you. If you avoid confrontation, you do not live freely. You live under the rules of others, shaped not by your will but by theirs. The world respects only those who draw lines, who refuse to be crossed, who speak when silence is demanded of them. If you cannot confront the lies that surround you, then you will live enslaved to them. If you cannot confront the forces that diminish you, then you will spend your life bowed beneath them. Confrontation is not aggression without purpose. It is resistance to the forces that would strip you of your dignity. Those who fear it never hold freedom in their hands, because freedom cannot breathe where fear rules. Freedom is sustained only by those willing to confront, even when their voice shakes, even when the cost is high, because they understand that the cost of silence is far greater. When you embrace confrontation, you awaken the essence of strength within yourself. The act of confronting is not just a battle with another, it is a battle with your own chains. Every time you stand and refuse to yield, you break a piece of the fear that binds you. This is why confrontation is sacred, because it is not merely a clash between two wills. It is a declaration of your existence. To confront means you will not allow lies to become your truth, weakness to become your life, or submission to become your destiny. You affirm your right to shape your path, even if the path is covered in thorns. Avoiding conflict may bring temporary comfort, but it robs you of freedom. Embracing it may bring struggle, but it brings liberation. The man who walks away from confrontation lives in the shadow of others. The man who dares to confront writes his presence upon the earth with every step, proving not only to the world, but to himself, that his freedom is not negotiable. The demand of freedom is harsh, for it does not allow the timid to flourish. It calls for those who are willing to endure discomfort, to bear scars, to stand against the tide of opposition without breaking. History is written not by those who avoided confrontation, but by those who embraced it without fear. They understood that every battle, every clash, every storm was necessary, because freedom could not exist without the fire of defiance. The illusion of harmony is shattered, the comfort of ease abandoned, when freedom is pursued. And yet, what greater pursuit is there? To avoid confrontation may spare you from pain, but it also spares you from living fully. The man who avoids conflict gains a fragile comfort, while the man who embraces it gains himself. That is the trade. That is why freedom demands confrontation. It asks if you are willing to sacrifice the illusion of peace for the truth of liberation. To walk the path of freedom is to accept that confrontation is not occasional but constant. Life will test you, authority will challenge you, and fear will whisper to you, urging you to step back, to remain quiet, to obey. But freedom cannot coexist with obedience to fear. You must rise, not once, but always. For the world is relentless in its attempts to bend the free into submission. Each confrontation you face is proof of your spirit's unyielding nature, a reminder that you refuse to live shackled by silence. Freedom is not given, it is seized, defended, and preserved through the courage to confront. It is the highest prize and the hardest burden. Those who shrink from conflict may live quietly, but they do not live freely. Those who embrace it, no matter the cost, taste a life that no tyrant, no fear, and no storm can ever steal. That is why freedom demands confrontation, because only those who confront are truly alive. There comes a time when we must look beyond the masks we wear and the silence we protect. So many live trapped in the illusion of harmony, convincing themselves that peace exists when in truth it is only fear disguised as calm. They nod, they smile, they agree, but inside their voices are chained, their spirits suffocated. What they call harmony is nothing more than surrender. This false peace cannot sustain the soul, because a life without confrontation is not peace at all. It is submission. To live fully, to breathe freely, one must tear away this illusion and embrace the reality that conflict is not the destroyer of harmony, but the only path toward genuine truth. It is in conflict that strength is forged. Strength is not born in comfort or in silence, but in the storm that strips away weakness and demands endurance. The storm may wound, it may test, it may leave scars, but those scars are proof that you have lived, fought, and endured. Every trial, every clash, every resistance builds resilience that cannot be stolen. When you step into the storm and stop fearing its power, you discover that it is not there to end you, but to shape you into something unshakable. Those who flee from struggle remain fragile, while those who face it rise with power carved deep into their spirit. Strength is not given freely, it is born only in the storm. And what is freedom if not the highest demand of the human spirit? Freedom does not bow to comfort, nor does it come from silence. It requires confrontation, because every step toward liberty threatens the forces that seek to bind you. To live free, you must confront lies with truth, oppression with defiance, weakness with courage. Avoiding confrontation does not protect freedom. it destroys it. The world respects only those who are willing to draw lines, to stand tall, and to fight for what cannot be surrendered. Freedom is not maintained by those who retreat into quiet obedience, but by those who rise, even when their voices shake, and declare that they will not bow. This is the path of the free soul, to shatter illusions, to endure storms, and to confront without fear. It is not the easy path, nor is it the safe one, but it is the only path that leads to dignity, to strength, and to true liberation. Those who choose silence may survive, but they do not live. Those who choose confrontation may suffer, but they emerge unchained. The demand is harsh, but the reward is eternal. For in the end, freedom does not belong to the timid. It belongs to those who dare. Thank you for listening. May courage guide your steps. May strength guard your spirit. And may truth lead you to freedom. God bless you.